Well, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. My name is Matt Light. I am the host of Life, Sarasota, and Real Estate. Thanks for listening wherever you may be, however you may be. That's what one of my favorite sports anchors, Colin Cowherd, likes to say. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Last week, I had on the show Amber Gingrich, the owner of Rialana here in Sarasota. We chatted about what that consigning event is, how she got started with it, and then best places to live in Sarasota if you are a young family. And we chatted about school. So go back, check that out if you are interested in that. But today, it's probably going to be a pretty quick episode for those of you driving in the car. You'll probably get this, finish listening to this by the time you get to work this morning. But there was a news article that I came across last week, and I talked a little bit about it at the end of last week's episode, and it just drove me nuts because I felt like it was such clickbait. And we live in this world where time is very scarce, and you have writers or content producers that they're just trying to get you to click on their stuff and click on their ads. And that was one thing that when my wife and we started producing this content, I started producing a lot of this video content. We just decided from the very beginning, we were only going to make it if it was worthwhile to people, and we thought that people were going to listen to it. And you have all this stuff with AI and chat GPT and all this, you can make more content, all this, but it's not real, and I don't think it adds a ton of value to people. And so if it doesn't actually add value to people, there's really not a point in making it, in my opinion. So when people put out articles and posts that are just out there for clickbait, it drives me insane. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And for those of you, here we go. Those of you in the car, the article says Sarasota Bradenton leads the nation in slashing home prices. I'm going to read a couple of these segments from you. I'm going to give you my thoughts on them, and we're gonna break it down and go from there. It says 3 residential housing markets on the west coast of Florida are among the national leaders in slashing prices, with the deepest cuts nationwide coming from Northport, Sarasota, Bradenton market, according to a new report from real estate data company Redfin. Oh, they said Redfin. That's like a trigger word for realtors. We are not huge fans of Redfin. So you got to take everything with a little bit of a grain of salt. So anyway, it continues to read, nearly 48% of all listings in Northport, Sarasota, Bradenton have experienced a price cut, according to Redfin. Next up is Tampa, where 44% of the listings had a price cut, followed by Indianapolis and then Cape Coral, blah, 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 blah. All this other fun stuff like this. Then it gets into, this is great. This is great. This is going to get me going here. It says 2 years ago, the Northport Metro was one of the most competitive housing markets in the country because it was affordable for remote workers and there was a shortage of homes for sale. But none of those things are true today. I mean, there's a shortage of homes for sale nationwide, not just Northport, Sarasota, not just Florida. Like, come on, folks. Then it says Sarasota in particular has been overvalued for decades, and the chickens have finally come to roost. The Tampa Metro has been faring a bit better. I mean, what is this guy talking about? It's been overvalued for decades and chickens that finally come to roost. I mean, I would say Sarasota has been the best kept secret in all of Florida, which is why for the longest time it was flying under the radar as one of the most affordable places to live. And then the pandemic comes and all this stuff, everything's gone up. Inflation, printing money, all like stimulus packages. It's just causing a mess of absolutely everything. So this is getting me real crazy. In Northport, I gotta calm down here for a second. Northport, when the pandemic happened, let's rewind this whole thing here. When the pandemic happened, we had no inventory. Nobody had any inventory. In fact, the Sarasota area, we had one of the least amount of inventories in the country. Okay, there, Mr. Redfin. It was an average. Our month supply of inventory was 13 days, meaning if no new market ever came to market, no new no new listing ever came on the market, it would take 13 days to sell out all active homes on the market. A balanced market is 6 months. At the time during the pandemic, it was 13 days. So we had absolutely nothing, hence why prices went crazy, blah, 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 all that stuff. So what happened was in the Northport, Inglewood, all that area down there, oh man, there was a new construction neighborhood that came out. It was called Beach Walk. I'm just going to give you this stuff right now. Maybe I'll regret this later, but I'm going to give it all to you right now. So you had Talon Preserve in Palmer Ranch, very desirable area of Sarasota, zoned to great schools, easy access to I-75 and the beaches. That came out, rolled out in about 2020. That's when they launched and opened for sale. Then they built the exact same neighborhood called Beach Walk down in Inglewood. Same neighborhood, same floor plans, I think the same amenities, similar size. Beach Walk's a little bit bigger, but it's in Inglewood. And that came out maybe 6 months or a year after Talon Preserve was open to the public. So Talon Preserve in Palmer Ranch, desirable area, then Inglewood, less desirable area. I was fully expecting when Beach Walk opened, I was fully expecting their base prices to be $100,000 less than that of Talon Preserve. That's what I was expecting. Why? Because that's where this is where I live. I know how expensive Talon Preserve is. I know how expensive the Palmer Ranch area is. And Inglewood's about $100,000 less. That's just what it's always been. But then because of the pandemic and no housing, Devasta, the builder at the time, they said, let's take advantage of this. So what did they do? They said they open market, I think it was $10,000, maybe $15,000 less than what Palmer Ranch was. So here was Inglewood, always $100,000 less than what Palmer Ranch was. But because of there was no inventory and because of the times, they said, it's a new neighborhood. A lot of people are just trying to get a new house right now because there's no inventory. So we can build them a house because we have inventory. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and let's make it the same value of Palmer Ranch. Nobody's going to know. And people ask me, why did I not go make a bunch of videos about Beach Walk and all these things? Because I thought that it was overvalued personally. And so it was hard for me to go and sell somebody something that I didn't fully believe in at the time. And so now you got Homeboy writing this or doing quotes with Redfin and all this other garbage saying that we have all these price cuts and all this stuff. So you know what? I decided, let's go pull the data, right? Let me pull this up. Let me share my screen with you. And those of you listening in the car right now, what I've done is I've gone into the MLS that has all of, multiple listing service, that has all of kind of our data and things like that. And I have pulled, I'm going to pull this up on the screen right here. I have pulled what the median sale price has been for every single month from January of 2023 all the way up to May of 2024. So January of 2023, this is Northport, okay? Because I think you got to exclude Sarasota when he's talking about these numbers here. I'm going to prove this to you in a second right now. So he's saying, so I'm telling you the facts are the facts. These are the facts. This is what the data is that we have access to. Unless you're a licensed realtor, you do not have access to this raw data. So I am sharing this screenshot that I took with you of the raw data. In January of 2023 in Northport, the median purchase price of a single family home was $337,000. Today, it's $352,000. It peaked in about June of 2023 at 365, but then it dropped. Then it went back up in November of 2023 to 368, then 360, 337, 360, 350, 350, 352. So we're clearly leveling off. So he's saying price cuts. I'm saying we went 349, 345, 350, and 352,000. I wouldn't say that is dramatically slashing 50%. If we pull specifically Sarasota data now, so this is not including Northport and Inglewood. What I would describe this to be is when somebody is relocating to Sarasota, this is the areas that they think of. This is the areas that they think of: Central Sarasota, west of the trail, some east of I-75, downtown, the islands, the Keys. This is what people think of a lot of times when they see in the news, oh, Sarasota. This is really what they're thinking of. Technically, Inglewood, Northport, that's Sarasota County. So that's going to skew a lot of people's data and their numbers. So January of 2023, the median price for a single family home in Sarasota was $514,000. Today, it's $590,000. And we've seen it kind of go a little bit all over the place. And if you've seen a couple of weeks ago, a month ago, I don't remember when, my market update video, I literally break this stuff down for you. Super easy, step by step. I've got a little guide. This is what it looks like. This is my Canva. You are literally seeing the back end of some of my systems right now. And it breaks it down. What has it done in the past year? Closed sales are up. Inventory is up, median price. I break this down for each area of Sarasota. So you can go back, watch some of those videos. You can download this. I got this stuff everywhere. I love this stuff. Anyway, back to the MLS. Okay, let's stay on focus here, Matt. So we see Sarasota pricing, and we're at 514. We go up, then we're at 580. Then in January of this year, it's 588. It drops to 560, then 565. Then in April, it's 600. Now we're at 590. So I would not be sitting here saying that the sky is falling and all these other things like that. Now, I will say this. Because we are in a market that has got increased inventory, I will say that if a seller is trying to extend out what they think they can get for a house, yeah, you're going to do a price reduction. But if you price it where you need to do it, you're probably not going to do a price reduction. But the facts are the facts. We're still having a high number of transactions. The median price is higher than what it was a year ago. So to sit here and get, a title of Sarasota Bradenton leads the nation and all this stuff, it's going to get clicks. If that's what you're getting paid for, you're doing a good job. But it doesn't necessarily always tell out the whole truth. And then there was another statistic here that, back to like the Palmer Ranch Inglewood thing. So yeah, I could see Northport is slashing more prices. And I think that's what the data is showing us, right? Because they were overvalued, in my opinion. And he's talking about how Sarasota is overvalued for decades. No. Northport was overvalued for 3 years. That's just the reality of it, period. And now it's coming back down to reality, to say that a bunch of times. Now it's coming back down to where it probably should be, which Inglewood should be less expensive than Palmer Ranch. If they're not, then Inglewood's going to come down more in price. Why? Because of the schools aren't as desirable. The location isn't as desirable. It's not as built up. The facts are the facts, folks. We're done with the pandemic. People are moving here, throwing money at the wall without even knowing what they're buying. Oh, it's brand new. I'm moving from California. It's like Dave Ramsey had something they called them the California suckerfish, because they would just see something and just buy it. They had all this money because it's so expensive to live out there, and they bring it here and I don't even know what it is. But the problem was they call me and I tell them the truth. I probably talk myself out of more sales than not. But that's just because of how I run my business and the integrity and whatnot. But the other thing that I want to point out was, even in this article right here, this guy says, from Redfin, right? Okay, here we go. Redfin. Oh, favorite thing in the world here. Insurance has been a factor in snarling some home sales in the Sunshine State. According to Redfin, which reports 70% of Florida homeowners say they have been affected by rising insurance costs or changes in coverage. Okay, first of all, that's 100%. Everybody in Florida has been affected by insurance, and costs have gone up. Everybody's premium's gone up. That's not a fact. The insurance carriers will tell you that they've gone up, 40%. You can look back, I think it was 2 episodes ago, episode 5, I had Julia Dees on with Dees Insurance, and we talked about how to get $10,000 towards, home upgrades, and insurance and all things like that. So episode 5 is where you'd want to go to listen and learn a little bit more about that. But I would say 100% of homeowners have been affected by insurance and coverages. But you've got to take that again with a grain of salt, because it is all relative. Because you've got to look at moving to Florida, or if you're a local living here, you've got to look at it from what does it cost to own my house perspective. What that means is, what are utilities? What are taxes? What is insurance? Those factors of it. Take the mortgage out, because the Fed's going to set the rates, so that's going to be the same wherever you go and wherever you buy. But the other aspects that change if you're moving here are those aspects. So if you're living in like New Jersey or Chicago, Illinois, you might have taxes that are $40,000 a year. Your insurance could be $2,000 and your taxes are 40. So you're in it for 42. Well, you come here, your taxes might be 12,000 and your insurance, let's say 6,000. So you're in it for 18. You are still way, way in the positive for your cost to own that house. Now, cost of living can be confusing because, price of eggs, price of gas, like that's just, I'm not going to dive into that. I don't have the data with me right now to tell you that. So you got to take a little bit of everything with a grain of salt, because it's all comes back down to where you're moving from, where you're coming from. And it's all relative. If you're moving here from a small town in Kentucky, you're going to say, wow, this is a very expensive place to live. Yeah, it is. It's a lot more expensive than what the prices are in your small town. If you're moving here from Los Angeles, you can't believe how inexpensive properties are. If you're in the luxury market, you can't believe how inexpensive the luxury houses are in Sarasota. You can buy anything you want for $20 million. I know that sounds like that is a lot of money. It doesn't sound like a lot. That's a lot of money. But the same house in West Palm Beach or Naples is $50 or $60 million. So yeah, it is a lot better buy here in Sarasota. So that's, I told you it's going to be a short episode today. I had to jump on because I read this article, got me all hot and heavy, got me all juiced up, just because I don't like the clickbait things that are out there. I would much rather have quality content. So those of you still listening to the show, listening to the episode, thank you for being here. If you are not subscribed to the podcast, would you consider subscribing today or onto the YouTube channel? I try to do these weekly kind of live podcasts where it's just a lot more raw. And then I've got the really nice production videos that I try to go out every weekend with something new, whether that's a piece of property that I'm listing for sale, a new construction community coming to the area, market updates, all the other things like that in between. But I really do appreciate you guys being here. And we are now the top rated local podcast. We have more 5-star ratings than I think than any other podcast in Sarasota right now. So those of you, thank you for giving us the thumbs up. Thanks for rating this, giving us 5 stars. Absolutely fantastic, incredible, super humbled by it. And I've got I've got a big guest coming on the show. I think I'm still waiting for him to confirm, but he is definitely a celebrity. We've been going back and forth a little bit about how to set it up, but I don't want to give away too much, because if it doesn't happen, I don't want you to be so disappointed, even though I'm going to be disappointed. But he's going to be incredible, absolutely incredible. So hopefully it all works out and I can bring this interview to you and whatnot. But thanks for listening today. If you want to chat more about real estate, my phone number is 941-256-3321. Those of you listening in the car, 941-256-3321, or email me at info@mattlight.com. I've got all my contact information up on the screen right now for those of you tuning in on YouTube. So thanks for watching today, guys, and I will see you next week.